Hello and welcome to another episode of our Pluma podcast. Today we have with us a very special person that I met a couple of months ago, and I immediately clicked with her because she told me about her project, which sounds extremely interesting. Her name is Birgit Geismayr. Did I say that correctly?
You certainly did. Thank you, Silvia.
And her organization that she has here in Vancouver is called the Be Embraced Foundation. So
Okay.
perhaps you can start by telling us a little bit about your foundation, how you came up with the idea, and kind of like give us a sense of what it's all about.
Yeah, certainly. So the foundation came about very naturally, organically. It wasn't planned. It wasn't done with. And this is what we're working with now. It happened because I went for a hike with a dear friend of mine, and she's from Brazil.
No. What's her name?
Her name?
In case she sees this podcast.
Her name is Jane.
Jane, okay.
Yeah, and we were hiking in Cyprus, and she had finished her master's degree, and that was in May, and then in November we were doing this hike, and she was telling me about this job that she had in a furniture store, so nothing to do with her master's, and she was getting frustrated that she couldn't find something a little bit more aligned with what she studied. And so I said, well, if you don't have a job, let's create you a job. And that's how it came about, to be honest. It was to help women, and it came very organically. So when I told her this, she thought I was a little bit crazy, but I've always wanted to create some sort of a project, whether it was a community housing, but something simple, not huge, just having different people live together and then provide either the cook or something.
Something organic.
Yeah. So, and this kind of happened. So from there, it grew. She introduced me to another lady she was so excited, and it just kind of blossomed by itself.
Oh, that's really good to hear, and it's really cool when things have that organic sort of quality. Then you just know that they have something like a true spirit. I almost want to say like behind it, right? It's not something that you sat down and thought and planned. It's just something that sort of happened, and that's very interesting, and we'll hear some more about your foundation. But for now, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you were born, your bit of your life story, your background, and specifically what do you feel motivates you to want to help women?
That's a great question, and it can go very long.
We have time.
I was born in South Africa to Austrian parents, and when I was 2, we moved to Quebec. So.
Quebec.
Yeah. So raised in the French part with Austrian parents. They couldn't speak French, so we were defended on our own in the schooling system. And then when I turned 13, we actually moved to BC, to Kelowna. So that's where I kind of grew up. That's where I spent most time of my life. And I've done many things in my past. I studied hotel management because of my languages.
Yes, because how many languages do you speak? So I guess you speak English, and you grew up speaking German with your parents?
Exactly.
And I'm guessing French?
French school, yeah.
In Quebec?
Exactly, and then I studied Spanish, and then I married a Brazilian, so my daughters are Brazilian, so I speak Portuguese too.
Wow, that's is that 5 languages?
Yeah.
Did I count it right? Okay. No, that's wonderful.
I love being able to help people and going traveling, so languages is really good. I love it. So so that's what I studied hospitality because I didn't know what to do, and then I traveled around a lot, and then I opened a company in Kelowna, which was a transportation company with my husband at the time, and we did wine tours, we did golfing packages, so a lot of fun stuff. And from there, I moved to Brazil by myself because I needed a change in my life. There was a few things happening, and I lived in Brazil for 3 years. And when I came back, my daughters didn't want to live in Kelowna anymore because I opened their eyes to the world.
Okay.
So we decided to move to Vancouver.
To Vancouver.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Brazil, I was an English teacher because I had to do what I was good at, and I spoke native English, and that was very valuable down there. So I became a teacher, and then I'm a financial advisor, and a life coach. And this has all kind of led to creating this foundation.
Wow, so like a lot of different threads seem to be coming together, right? Did you ever think they were going to come together?
No.
Or did you think, okay, I'm like a business person with my wine tours and I speak languages and I'm an English teacher and blah, blah, blah. But now it is coming together?
It's coming together very beautifully because I believe that the North American culture is very, we have to do everything by ourselves and we have to create this life that's perfect and you compare yourself to the neighbor, but it's all by yourself, like women. And the reason I know this is in South America it's completely different, and I'm sure that in Asia it's completely different. The community, we're missing the community here, right? And I know there's some beautiful organization in Vancouver that are already working on this, and that's what we're missing. It's just the space for women to feel heard, to feel seen,
right,
to feel supported.
Okay. And tell us a little bit more about like the specifics. So if let's say a woman who's a newcomer were to come to your foundation asking for help and kind of picturing they might have different needs from like work training to maybe financial resources, maybe some kind of psychological support. How does it all sort of work? How does it come together?
Yes, so we have kind of two things going. So one is a community just for whoever is needed. They can come and we can guide them to what they need.
Right.
But we also have a program. So this is where we're working on getting funding for. And the program is very separate from just the community space and the women that we already have that are helping us to provide for these women. And so the program itself is for women that are really living life on autopilot. They're just overworked. Some of them don't even know that they're just going on that hamster wheel. And that's why the beautiful thing about the program is it can be funding or it can be sponsorship. And then when it's sponsored by somebody, then they get to say who they're sponsoring.
Okay.
Because those women don't know. They're just going, they're doing their life. So if somebody says, do you really need the help? So we provide them with time, space, environment, and resources to rediscover themselves.
Okay, so you're saying that you can provide them with time and space, which sounds wonderful. But in reality, how do you give someone like time? How does that work?
Yeah. Very good question. So depending on the woman, we would analyze what she needs. And so it can go as something as simple as, I don't like to cook. And you just mentioned
I don't like to cook either. No.
So if somebody would give you some prep meals, right? How amazing is that? Yeah. Just knowing that your family or yourself has a good meal. So we collaborate with some of the companies in town and they provide us a meal plan. And then that's one thing. That saves about 2 to 3 hours a day. Yeah. Then we've got cleaning services and we can do child mending or we can do dog walking. So depending on, all those things are things that have to be done within what we create ourselves, what we create in our life, but we lose time because we need to take care of all of it, right? So.
And I guess the next question is, what do you envision then that this woman that you're helping is going to do with that time that has been saved?
Beautiful. So the time that she saves, it does have to go into herself, so taking care of herself. So it can be something as simple as taking Pilates course, doing yoga. It can be something about pampering herself, just going to a salon. Yeah. Or it can be we're hoping it goes into self-development.
Self-development.
Yeah. But you have to start with baby steps, right? A woman that's never tried any self-development doesn't even know. That's why she's unaware that she's in this situation, right?
Okay.
So it's baby steps. But the self-development is to be able to find herself again, see who she really is, and maybe the life that she's created is it's not where she wants to be, right?
So and as you're explaining it, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's like, so you have like kind of like the outer layer of what's happening. That might be that you're running around, that you have a corporate job that you don't like, that you're screaming at your kids in the evening because you're tired out. And then it's like, okay, let's like deal with some of the outer layer so you can have access to more and more to the inner layers, right?
100%.
Until you get to the point where you're going to be feeling yourself. I think that was beautiful, like the way you put it.
Yeah. So it's to rediscover yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, and that gives that trickle effect into the community. So if a woman is happy and finds that she can find less stress, or and just more being at ease and doing things that she needs to, then her kids will be happier. And partners, if they have partners, right? It just goes into the community. So.
Into the community. Have you felt like that yourself in your life? Have you felt like you got to a point where you were beginning to lose yourself?
Yeah.
And how do you get out of that?
And I was lucky. So what I did is I packed up my bags and I went to Brazil, because Brazilian lifestyle is different, right? And then we had somebody help me in the household.
Okay.
And my girls went to school, and I just focused on myself, and I rediscovered myself. So, but not everybody has that opportunity, right? So being able to create that here, we need to find a way to.
That is an amazing motivation to start a foundation, right? Because in a way, what I'm hearing you say is that you, one way or another, ended up going through that process, having more space and time, making a decision to live a different kind of life, having time to work on yourself. And now you're kind of seeing the value of that and wanting to spread it outwards,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So that's very powerful, and I think that's a very powerful motivation for a foundation like yours.
Thank you.
And can you tell us some stories about like some of the stuff you have seen with participants who have already sort of been going along this journey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are finding right now, and I don't know if it's because Vancouver is so multicultural, we found a lot of newcomers so far. And we're here for everybody. So, and for a newcomer, there's an extra layer, right? Because they feel like they come here and they've been promised something, and it's a new culture, so there's lots of adaptation. So the beautiful thing in Vancouver, there's so many great programs that we can also collaborate with, because we can't do it all, of course. And so if we work with others, there's Mosaic, there's so many beautiful programs that help newcomers as well. So it's basically being that bridge. So having a woman and knowing what she needs, and then just kind of guiding her. Okay, let's
connecting her with other. And you're very right about the extra layer, because I mean, you're talking about finding yourself because of life situations like many of us do. But then when you're an immigrant to a new country, you might have immigration issues. You might have a difficult situation with your husband, let's say, that also has immigration implications in some way. A lot of people find themselves in situations like that.
And one of the ones that I find the most is like this lady I helped is confidence, because a lot of them, they want a new opportunity. They already have some skill sets, whether it's, doctor or teacher, and they come here and they basically have to start from zero. So it's having to be able to give a lot to get something different, but but unknown.
I've seen that a lot here in the community that we serve. People who start off having, like you say, being a doctor, being a lawyer in their country, eventually they're here for a while and they're like, I guess here I'm just going to work in construction. Yeah. Because that's what I see everyone else doing. Maybe I don't reach the level of English that I would like. So there's so many complexities, and I'm glad. So the foundation isn't just for newcomers, right? In your case, it's for anybody?
It's for basically women that need a community, right? Okay. And we can support each other in so many different ways. And just being there, sometimes it's just knowing that there's others, right? So what we're working on right now is creating different workshops. In the beginning of next year, we'll have quite a few workshops. Right now, we're just doing one event a month because we're expanding. And right now, all of our women that are helping us, they're all volunteering. Yeah. So there's only so much manpower that we have, but with the events, we're creating this community and making people feel like they can voice themselves or their story. It might not be a traumatic story, but it's a story that affected them in some way, shape, or form. And
it's their story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what is your vision for the foundation? Let's say, like, if everything goes the way you would want to right now, everything works, in 5 years, in 10 years, how do you see yourself? How do you see the foundation? What do you see happening in terms of the community?
What a beautiful question. Yeah. So in 5 years, I'm hoping that in the next few years, we create a platform that can be sustainable. And once it's sustainable, it can be duplicated. Mm-hmm. So it can be duplicated across Canada, across the States, across the world that would be amazing if it was across the world, right? Because we're all humans, we're all the same. We all need the same things at the end of the day. Even though cultures are different and places you live are different, but
That's a great vision, and I can really see that, and I can really see what you're saying, that everyone needs that. It's not a Vancouver thing, it's starting in Vancouver now, but it's like next door, next city, next country, everyone, women are finding this sort of situations and could do with this kind of support, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it's starting here because how we save the time is the meal preps, which are things that are physical, right? Mm-hmm. But the self-development, it's all done online. And even it's not only self-development. Some of the self-development is you need to heal. So there's different modalities that we work with. We connected with many women that it can go from, I spoke about yoga, but it can go to Reiki, it can go to energy work, it can go to therapy, it can go to hypnotherapy. Like, all of these modalities are out there, and they're so valuable, and they're so needed in different situations.
Right. And then I know you're looking for some sponsors, or your foundation is going to work partly, at least, through sponsorships. 100%. What would you say to people who might be interested or might have the resources to be a sponsor? What do they get out of it? How would you frame it? Why should they come to you and help you build this?
I think they should come and talk to us and see what we're all about. Come to an event and see. It's the energy. When we did our inauguration, the event was just so powerful, right? And I think that's when you bring people together and they can see the vision, they can feel it. So it's not that budget and the plan. Of course, that's very important, and that's what we're working on now because it came organically, and that's where we're focusing on now. Growing it, getting a few more board members, structuring it properly because we want the foundation to be good. And sorry, I'm kind of going off track. So what are they? Yeah, I think it feels good. A lot of women that are in the position, or people that are in the position to support, is because they've gone through their own struggle, and now they're at the point where they're like, okay, it doesn't have to be like that, right? So how can I give back? And they can also be part of the community, right? So
and that's so important. It's a gift. Yeah, absolutely. And then just to finish off the conversation about the foundation, what would you say to women who might be watching us, who find themselves, who kind of like, when you talk about having lost yourself, just being lost in like everyday kind of craziness, feeling like maybe your life is not in the place where you want it to be, or you're overwhelmed, what would you say to them? What's a good place to kind of start?
It's a very deep question, but it's so important because when you come to that realization, you know that you're worth more than what it is, and life is beautiful, and there is so much out there. So just to know that there's people around and there's different opportunities or possibilities, just knowing, and we're here to give that belief in them. We are here to hold that belief, and then they will learn to embrace it.
To embrace it.
Yeah. Okay. Because some people, they can't see tomorrow, right? So they're so stuck in their situation that they feel that there's no way out.
Right.
But you have to have somebody that can believe in you, and this is what we're holding for them, that space.
Wonderful. It sounds like a wonderful idea, and I really wish you the best of luck with the foundation. I'm sure we're going to be in touch with you guys and supporting you, and I'm glad that so many different things seem to be happening in Vancouver.
Yes.
And with the newcomer community specifically, I think there's a lot of people working different angles of all of that, and you're going to be one of the bridges that puts a lot of stuff together. So that's going to be really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
There's a lot of support in Vancouver. It's amazing.
It's a wonderful city, I find. Great. And then this is not about your foundation, but just about something we're beginning to do with all of our podcast guests. So we have this egg.
So who has been the most influential person in your life?
The most influential person in your life?
Yeah. To be honest, it's been my father. He's passed away 6 years ago, but he's been such an inspiration and showed me that he was an engineer when we came to Canada and we moved to Kelowna. He had given up his job to become an orchardist. So changed his image because he knew that was, so just to know it doesn't matter what people think, you need to be happy and you need to make sure that you feel good inside, right? So he changed his whole career for us, in a sense. And that, for me, it's such a huge inspiration because I think you have to be very confident to be able to be okay with that.
Especially when society maybe tells you, it is better to be an engineer, right? And you have to follow your heart in situations that might be really tricky. Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
But he just trusted it, and he went down a completely different path, and it worked out beautifully for him. So
that's wonderful. That is an inspiration. Okay, one more question, and we're done. And apparently they're in English. What is this one? You want to skip?
Yes.
Okay.
It's about movies.
We're skipping. We're not going to say what it is.
Yeah, and I'm not very good with movies, remembering movies. Although I love watching them. Ooh, what would you say to your 10-year-old self?
What would you say to your 10-year-old self?
10-year-old self? I would say...
This is a very good one.
I have 2 daughters, so it's actually very touching because it's just doesn't embrace your differences, and that's what's going to bring you forward.
Embrace your differences.
Yeah. So because there's so many labels nowadays, and if you're too stressed or anxious or timid, I was a very shy person, and to embrace that and make something from that, I think that's what I would say, because it builds your confidence, embracing it.
That's
rather than fighting it.
That's a really wonderful way to end this conversation, and I'm gonna personally keep it for myself as well. Embrace your difference. I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming, Birgit. We really loved having you. And from here, we wish you every success with your foundation. And you can always count on us if you need any kind of support or help. We'll definitely be here to support you with any of these wonderful projects that you're leading.
I appreciate that, Silvia. That's very special, and we're excited to be able to share with anybody. And
wonderful.
Thank you for giving me the space and time.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.